Okay, Eastgate Elementary School is where I went to elementary school from 1988 to 1994. And they're remodeling Eastgate Elementary School. You can see the front here. Um, there are signs that look like it's being demolished, but incredibly it's not. It's actually undergoing a renovation and conversion. And in the next sequence, we can see that there's a sign showing that this will be the future site of the Big Picture School. So the future home of the Big Picture School of Bellevue, which is currently held at Robbinswood. But the point of this video is actually to talk about macro and microeconomic changes that occurred during the 90s. And this is important because Nixon had delinked the US dollar from the gold standard in 1971, and then in 1973 OPEC put a oil crunch, and those two factors increased currency inflation. So before 71 the US dollar was backed by gold, and after that it was backed by nothing, now known as a fiat currency. While a lot of the other world currencies were using the US dollar as a reserve currency. So as we increased the amount of US dollars using an academic term called quantum easing, thank you Federal Reserve, that just means to elastically increase the amount of fiat currency. Fiat means enforced by the state. The Chinese invented fiat currency in the 10th century BCE, if you're wondering. They're also responsible for the COVID-19 virus from Wuhan Bioweapons Lab. Thank you, China. But back to the topic. Well, the Chinese yuan's in the toilet, so is the Russian ruble, and the US dollar, while it's lost 99% of its purchasing power since 1900, is still useful. And as long as I can buy groceries, pay my rent, and, pay the utilities and such, buy gas for my car, make my car payment, I guess even if the dollar's lost a lot of its value, it still works. Well, Noam Chomsky has a excellent documentary film called Requiem for the American Dream. In Adam Smith's landmark paper, The Wealth of Nations, there's a section called the 10 Principles of the Concentration of Wealth and Power, pretty much to run the elections, manipulate the population, break up solidarity, marginalize the democratic process, redesign the economy, all the hallmarks of what you see happening with merger and acquisition in Wall Street. And incredibly, it's not an individual problem, it's actually the system is configured incorrectly. So the way corporations in America and around the world are set up, they're competing to always increase next quarter's earnings. They actually have a legal fiduciary responsibility to maximize profit. And inexorably, because they're a non-living entity, that means they're going to do things that are harmful to their employees or their customers, namely as externalities like the foam-blowing factories having their employees using dangerous, poisonous, toxic solvents instead of non-toxic gases like nitrogen or CO2 to inflate the polyurethane into the foam that's used in cushions and everything that's squishy that people sit on. Well, after working there, they all get lymphatic cancers and die at 60. So, and then there's a class action lawsuit. Camp Lejeune, the tetrachloroethyl, whatever, in the water supply, the dry cleaning chemicals was in their drinking water. And then they were all getting tumors and soft tissue cancers. Oh, now class action lawsuit. Engineering disasters. There's a whole subsection of 900 some episodes of Modern Marvels about engineering debacles and blunders where huge megastructures collapse or major engineering projects fail. It seems that human society develops in a go forward full speed until you fail, collapse, analyze what went wrong, then try again using what you've learned. And if you look at an individual's life, this often tends to be true. So ask yourself, why are so many lottery winners broke within 10 years of winning hundreds of millions or even trillions or billions of dollars or whatever they win? I'll tell you, it's the same reason that some people are 600 pounds or 1,000 pounds. You're not going to fix the underlying mental, emotional, or psychological problem with money. Or, that's not my childhood best friend, Matt Mayo. He eventually inherited $11.6 million, but because he had unhealing injuries from a tragic motorcycle accident, he ended up taking a large caliber handgun and killing himself by shooting himself in the head. So no amount of money or properties that he owned or vehicles or any of that kept him from committing suicide, right? And then how many successful singers like Chris Cornell hang themselves even though they're worth hundreds of millions and famous all the world over, or Chester Bennington, right? How many Hollywood um, actors or actresses die at 27? Did you know they make satanic oaths in Hollywood? Well, underneath all of what you see going on in science, we measure objective phenomena, what can be measured, observations, like your eyes take in photons, your ears take in sound pressure waves of the air. Well, we design experiments to isolate variables to test. Well, what if I told you there's a lot more going on behind the scenes in other dimensional spaces, that maybe time travel exists in other dimensions, or maybe time isn't even a dimension, maybe just energy and information are relevant in one dimensional layer higher than the one you exist in. Well, how does astral projection work, or what's called remote viewing in the intelligence community? What does a lucid dream really consist of? If dreaming is just your visual cortex exercising your visual sense so your other senses don't hijack your sensory system, maybe there's more to it, maybe not, maybe it's all fantastic imagination. I clearly don't have all the answers, more questions than anything else, but I can tell you that we can reverse currency inflation, we can make the US dollar stronger, we can make the US economy stronger, and I voted for Donald Trump, and so did my wife that you see climbing through the fence here. We voted for Donald Trump to protect the US economy because protecting the US economy protects the allies of the United States and their economies too. And you heard it here first, down low on the Hush Hush QT. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click that bell or that subscribe button.